Welcome to our podcast. For over 50 years, Hartford Family Institute has been Connecticut's premier psychotherapy institute, offering a certificate program for psychotherapists and healers and a certificate program for all others who would like to use this unique therapeutic modality for their personal and professional lives.
Yeah, we're just gonna, have a natural conversation and, get to know you a little bit and get some insight from you for the audience.
Okay.
Right. So, Donna, how do you say your last name?
Baker Gilroy.
All right. We're here with Donna Baker Gilroy. How you doing today?
I'm doing beautifully.
Yeah.
Sitting in my garden.
Yeah, you have a beautiful, lovely garden out here. You have a beautiful home.
Thank you.
How peaceful is this for you out here?
It's very peaceful. Yeah. We've been here 35 years and we still love it.
Yeah.
We're still moving in.
That's beautiful. How important is it for you to have an environment like this?
I'd say it's probably top of the list.
Yeah.
To be in nature.
Yeah.
And have an area where we don't use chemicals and we invite all the wildlife, and it means a lot to both of us.
So we're gonna get into some questions and you give us just your knowledgeable insight on things that people would have questions about talking to a psychotherapist, right? So the first question is, how can someone tell the difference between normal stress, a deeper mental health issue that needs professional help?
That's a wonderful question, because life presents stress, and there's a certain level of stress that we need to experience and have ways to navigate. But I would say if it's starting to cause health issues, if people feel that no matter what, they really cannot get a good night's sleep, or it's affecting their appetite, and any supports that they've tried in the past just aren't working, then those are all indications that it's time to seek professional help. And even if it's not that severe, it can still help to have someone to talk to and put things in perspective.
Yeah. So what does talking to someone do for someone who's in that position?
Well, I think most of us, ways we've been traumatized is when we didn't have a safe person who really could see us and understand and be able to process.
I'll turn that off. You never turn the car off.
And so having someone to talk to, usually when you meet a therapist, it's someone that you don't know. And sometimes that can be a help, because we already have preconceived notions of how certain people are going to respond to us. And sometimes just having someone who really cares and is there in a listening way, we can even discover feelings that we didn't know were there. Because now it's about us getting the connection that we always needed.
Right.
So that was my experience when I went to therapy. I was amazed. I had never been listened to in that way.
So what did therapy do personally for you when you first started out?
What therapy did for me is I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what was wrong. And I saw a coworker whose life was improving, and I asked her what she was doing, and she was in therapy. I said, oh, that might be a good idea. And at the time, because I had kind of normalized my growing up, I thought, well, I don't really have any problems. I mean, this is kind of frivolous. But I discovered that wasn't true. And so my first venture into therapy, following what my coworker was doing, opened a whole new world for me. It was like learning another language, but a language on some level I already knew. So it just felt like a fit.
Like it was something deeper inside of you that was talking to you and you're finally getting some answers to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would, if I saw a television show and it would be maybe a family show and people were talking, I remember looking and wonder, like, how do they know how to talk to each other like that?
Okay. How should people set healthy boundaries with family, friends, or coworkers without feeling guilty?
Well, if you know how to set boundaries and you do set them and you end up feeling guilty, there's something to look at, because we should be able to say what we need and be respected. But some people, based on how we were raised and were taught not to do that, we do start to feel guilty. And that might be the good news. If we're feeling guilty, we might be doing something right.
Oh,
Because we're doing it different than what we were taught.
right.
And again, therapy can be a place to process that and learn how we were made to feel guilty, and perhaps learn other ways to express our boundaries that are more received too, because oftentimes we didn't learn how to express ourselves in a way that someone else could hear.
Now, where do you think that guilt comes from?
It comes from being told that we were a problem in some way, and I think my mother used to say I just wanted the world with a fence around it, and that I was never happy. And it's true, I don't think I was happy, but I don't think it was because I wanted the world with a fence around it.
Yeah.
I think I wanted to feel that I was loved.
Gotcha. So how can someone deal with anxiety in the moment, like when it suddenly hits and they're at work or in public or something?
Yeah, I have had clients who've expressed that, oh my gosh, I'm in work, I'm in front of people, what am I
Yeah.
going to do? And it may sound like a simple response, but the very first thing is to breathe. And sometimes when we're in a situation like that, we hold our breath.
Yeah.
And I know for some people, being able to head to a restroom, for example, where you have some privacy and you can take the time and stop and breathe. And if you already know some supports, you can imagine the supports being there with you. And I don't think any of us like to be taken by surprise like that in front of people that may not be receptive
Yeah.
to what's going on. So our own breath is portable. We can always connect to it.
Right. Absolutely.
So we need reminders of, oh, okay, let me stop and breathe. That's number one. And then to see if there's any place to have some little more privacy.
Well, you just helped me out because I have an event to go to tonight, and I know it's going to be a lot of people there, and I'm going to be by myself, but with other friends. And I was already thinking, like, man, if I get overwhelmed or, what am I going to do? So, that's definitely something that's going to stick in my mind tonight.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
instant help.
To breathe.
Yeah,
Breathe. Yeah.
absolutely. Maybe even the bathroom.
Absolutely.
I might use.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to interfere if you say, oh, I need to go to bed.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can get a timeout for yourself.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you recommend people managing negative self-talk or feelings of not being good enough?
Well, I think most of us who find our way to therapy, that was part of what was going on. And most often it comes from having been taught to that way. So again, therapy can help us learn how we learn to treat ourselves that way. And everything can be a defense or a support. It can also be that talking to ourselves that way helped us feel safer. Because if we can do it before somebody else does it, maybe we have a little control about the situation.
Right.
So it's not kind of a one-shot deal for an answer. It's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
And it certainly indicates that somebody doesn't feel loving towards themselves. And when I first started therapy and even heard the concept of having the little part of me still be there, I just felt hatred. That's all I felt. And if someone asked me if I'd been hated growing up, I said, oh, of course not.
Yeah.
But it was true because that's how I felt towards the young part of me. So it was therapy that helped me shift that.
Yeah.
And another piece I'd say in later years, we were fortunate to connect to Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a Buddhist monk. He's now passed.
Okay.
And his teachings of mindful practices and how to be compassionate and loving to yourself have been a big part of my growth, and I know my husband's growth. And we've also integrated it into the work at HFI.
Now, what's their name again?
Thich Nhat, it's ThichNhatHanh.
I don't remember that.
A site, plumvillage.org, and there's all sorts of information on.
How did you get introduced to him?
I was fortunate when I went for my master's degree. I went to Antioch up in New Hampshire, and the track that I was taking was team taught, and the two women that taught it had trained with Thich Nhat Hanh, also with John Kabat-Zinn, who's another wonderful, wonderful healer. And so that's how I was introduced to Thich Nhat Hanh. And part of our homework, we had to meditate. And that was my first introduction to meditation. I was in my early 40s at the time, so it wasn't early in my life. This was later. And oh my gosh, I thought I just discovered the most wonderful thing. I commuted to school with a young fellow who was in a different track, and it was more about testing and things. We'd drive home and I'd be so excited about my whole day, and he'd be, this is, So I was very fortunate to have the holistic track and learn about Thich Nhat Hanh.
Now, let me ask you about that ride home, with that person and their energy. Did you let that energy affect your energy, or were you skilled enough?
No, I didn't. I think he made the choice he did because he thought that's what he had to do to develop a practice. And he was a lot younger than I was. And at my age, I wasn't about to do something that didn't feel like the right thing to do. So I think he got some support from me to think about what he really wanted for himself in life. I felt sad that he was at a wonderful school studying and hating every day. That was sad to me, but I didn't take it on.
Right.
I had too much excitement about the world I was learning about.
Yeah. So what would you tell people who are on this journey that you are on and that you're still in, and when they have that encounter with the negative force or that negative energy, but somehow they don't know how to stand their ground, so you say, in their truth and their journey and their path, and they get shaken up by others' energy?
So what
would you tell that person how to manage that?
Well, if one thing is, if they're in a situation that there's a way they don't have to be with that person, that it's okay. Sometimes we think, oh no, we have to put up with things.
Yeah.
But sometimes removing ourselves from the situation.
Yeah.
The other is developing skill to say to someone how they're being impacted without blaming them. And the more we learn to say that without blame, the higher the possibility we can be heard. Such as say somebody is just, their negativity is just all over the place. I might first say, you seem very upset. And I'm aware that as you're upset, it's hard for me to be with you. Is there a way you could stop and breathe and let me be with you? That might be one possibility.
Yeah. So kind of meeting them where they at.
Meeting
in
them
a
where they
support-
are, yeah.
So in a supportive way.
And if they're totally against that, I would think I would want to head in the other direction.
Absolutely. Okay. How should someone handle a loved one who refuses to get help but clearly needs it?
That's a hard question because I've seen that at times in my own family.
Yeah.
What I had to learn is to, number one, express the support and make a suggestion. But if that's not received, I had to just be with my place of powerlessness and at times grief that someone really, really needs something and they don't have the supports to take that step.
Yeah.
I had a cousin that she was really like a sister, and it wasn't until a major, major crisis happened in her family that then she called me and asked about therapy.
Wow.
But if that had been maybe 20 years earlier, she could have had a very different life. But some people have, this isn't true about everybody, but many people have a very strong intellectual defense.
Yes.
And they feel like, well, I can handle this or I can figure this out. I don't need anybody to tell me how to do this. As if therapy is about telling you how to do it.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
But that intellectual defense worked against her until something was so great that came apart and she knew she needed some help.
Yeah. Wow. Good deep stuff. How can people protect their mental health while also being a support system to others?
That's a constant balance. And again, if somebody feels that it's affecting them in a negative way, like they're not sleeping or whatever, they might know that they've gone too far. So I think the main thing with that is about being able to come home and connect to ourselves and see what we need. People think it's selfish to think about what we need, but we need to be at the top of the list. If we don't get what we need, we're not really going to help somebody else.
Absolutely.
It's just like the car. If you don't put gas in it, it's not going to go anywhere. It's same with us. If we get our needs met, we're more available to be there for someone else. So it's hard when it comes a point that somebody needs something, but you're at the limit of what you can offer. But that's an important place, and to know we're not the only person in the world that might lead the person to develop other support.
Do you have a daily ritual routine that you do?
Yeah, in the morning, my husband and I join a Sangha, that's a meditation group.
Okay.
And we do that on the weekday mornings. And again, we follow the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh. And every Tuesday evening, we have another meditation group. So that's a big part of how we stay connected to a loving connection. Given how much negativity is happening in the world now and how it can take over everything, we come back to that basic, our breath, our connection to the earth, being in nature, and then from there we can take steps to deal with the things that are happening out in the world. So that's a big part of our daily routine.
So I'm like a universe geek. Lately, I've been a universe geek, and I read something. I want to see if you think this has anything to do with anything, or if I'm just geeking out too much. What they said, there's so much negativity going on planet Earth that the energy is pushing the other stars and moons and planets away from us. I just heard, and I can't remember his name now.
He just passed. He passed in August, and he's a Buddhist teacher. He's a black man.
Okay.
And I don't know if David can remember his name. He said what we did is we elected our unconscious, which is a very interesting concept. And I think what we're dealing with and the level of negativity is what's been, it's been here, it's been underground.
Yeah.
And now things are coming to the surface, and it is about what's been unconscious. That gives us an opportunity to look at it and to heal it. I think the power of the universe can hold us.
Yeah.
And I think the number of wonderful, good people out there,
Yeah.
the energy of that can hold us.
Yeah.
And I feel love is a much more powerful force than hatred and negativity. So that's...
I love that perspective. That was on point. I love that perspective. All right. So are you on social media at all?
Only Instagram.
Okay.
I don't do Facebook.
Okay. How should people navigate social media when it makes them feel depressed or like they're nothing to the world or they're not doing nothing because of what they see all over social media?
Yeah, social media, I mean, there's so much out there, and not only that, now it's hard to trust what we're seeing, how AI is getting affected, and can we believe what we're seeing? But people, I think, need to have boundaries around that, and we don't want to be ignorant about what's happening, but Thich Nhat Hanh talks about taking in toxins, and too much social media is about taking in toxins. So I think parents limiting their children's access to that, having them have playtime out in nature, for example, is very important. And the same for adults. Is this upsetting me too much? How can I just limit this and still stay informed, but not take in the toxins?
Yeah.
And the part about what to do, I think everyone I know has said, what can I do? And again, I come back to Thich Nhat Hanh, and he talks about when we breathe and we're present with ourselves, that is doing something, because that changes the energy that we put out into the world.
Yeah.
And that
Absolutely.
has meaning.
Absolutely.
So just right to the very basics, stopping and breathing and existing is doing something.
Yeah. Even as you say breathe, I'm reminding myself to take a breath right now. Absolutely. How do you suggest people build resilience after going through setbacks or failures?
Dave, the door is opening. Oops. I'm just afraid of the cat going out. How to recover from...
Yeah. How do you suggest people build resilience after going through setbacks or failures?
It's very hard to have failures and setbacks. And again, many people, given what's happening in this environment, have unexpectedly had setbacks, and things happen that they never would have expected. First, it's to know when we've really lost our support, and that we've had a setback. And then the only way, let me put it a different way. When I look back at really traumatic times in my life, I had a nervous breakdown at one time and went through a divorce. When I look at what led to that now, it really helped me grow and develop my strength. At the time, I was devastated. I thought, oh my God, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, I would say therapy and building my support system in that way and growing from that and seeing the bigger picture of what led to that. It wasn't just about my immediate experiences. There were connections to my ancestry that went into that.
Yeah.
And so I could bring appreciation to that I'm not only healing me, I'm healing trauma from my ancestors
Yeah.
and hopefully paving the way for my kids and my grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Yeah.
So we need to get as much support as we can get to come back and heal from setbacks and failures, and to know that that doesn't mean we're a failure. People can personalize it. Means, oh, if I failed, I'm a failure.
Right. Yeah.
No, that doesn't mean that. It means we had a very difficult experience. Yeah.
And
we
you also
matter.
can learn from that experience. And
Pardon
hopefully
me?
you also can learn from that
You
experience.
totally can learn from it. Totally. I mean, that's helped me grow,
Yeah.
in ways I want to just say, thank you for being so hurtful.
All right.
But truly, I did grow from it.
That's funny. I was just telling my son about that. Sometimes you gotta thank the people that hurt you, because they actually are building you
Right.
into becoming who you truly are, because it affected you some way. Now, there's another thing I'm teaching my son is to check in with his emotions.
Right. Right.
What got me here to this emotion? How do I feel in this emotion? And the after effects of the emotion.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I got it from him being emotional about playing a video game. But it correlates with, everything in life.
Yeah.
If you can just check in with your emotions.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What a fortunate son.
He doesn't know it yet, obviously, right?
Well, at some
We
point.
teach our kids, and then once they go through it in life later on, they're like, oh, that's what my dad was talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Speaking of that, how can parents best support their kids' mental health in today's world of technology and pressure?
Well, part of what you're saying, that you're teaching your son, you're being with him and respecting that he has emotions and helping him to connect with that. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Which every parent out there that listens to this can hear that.
yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And to do our best to kids come into the world with so much aliveness and spirit, and to honor that and appreciate that, and to hold the guidelines even if they object, when we know something like they shouldn't be on their video games 24/7.
yeah.
And they may not like it if we set those limits, but we still have to do that.
That's why I don't even know what made me think of that. Maybe you guys all helped you get to this point, but even when he gets upset that he can't play the video game, I use it for everything. I'm like, hey, check in with your emotion. And then he's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I can do that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let him know that you could understand he's upset.
Yep.
And yet this is what needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How should people start a conversation about mental health in communities where it's a stigma?
I think we have to use our instincts to know no, I really better not say something about this. The other thing you can do is, I have an experience I'd like to share. Are you interested in hearing about it? Could be one approach. I found something that was helpful in my life. Is that anything that you'd want me to share with you? Would be another way. I think a lot of stigmas are based on people being afraid and only seeing things portrayed in a certain way, and they think that's how it is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember specifics, but we've seen some movies lately that are much more accurate about therapy. In the past, it was presented in a way that was really demeaning to therapy and was meant to be comedy, but it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
Because it was teaching people that, no, you're a fool if you do this, because look at how dumb this is.
Yeah.
So that's an important subject, and the stigma is because people really don't understand. They haven't yet had the experience to know that it can make a difference.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't learn to swim from reading a book.
Absolutely.
You don't know what therapy is until you've had an experience of how it can be helpful.
Yeah. Why do you think there's such a wall in between people dealing with life and jumping over that wall just to say, I do need help?
I don't understand that question, T.
What do you think why do you think there's a wall between people who won't take that step to go see therapy? What do you think that big stigma is?
Again, that's such a fabulous question because I have so many clients that my client might be the one in their family who went to therapy. And they have siblings and other family members that are totally the opposite. And I can't say I really know. I guess it's just not the path for everyone in this lifetime. Some of us, I can't imagine not having had therapy.
Yeah.
And once I had the experience, I wanted more. I'm 83 years old. I still have places that can heal. Yeah. I hope that continues for my whole lifetime. Some people do not want to do that. I don't really have an answer for why that is, but everyone has a right to their own path.
Yeah. Nice. So my last question, what would the older Donna say to the younger Donna before she knew about therapy?
To say to the younger Donna?
Before she knew about therapy.
Oh, gosh. What would I want to say to her now? I would want to tell her that I love her. Yeah. And that she already has a lot of knowledge, and that as she grows, she's going to grow into what she already came into the world with.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I thank you for sitting with me. The knowledge that you hold, I feel, can change the world and change many, many people. And through this video and through social media and putting out posts and reels, I'm quite sure you're going to change someone's life.
Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a pleasure.
Pleasure.